Okay, then. Good evening. I think you weren't prepared to receive me on stage. You know, as I'm standing here, the two words that are trending in the room today are long time. I can hear everyone say long time. And I'm like, wow, it's 2022. And finally, all of us are in the room. Most of us are actually meeting each other after a long time. It's time. Time's up. And I'm going to request all of you to please take your seat. We've reserved the rest of the evening for conversations, food, and some great drinks. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here. A very good evening to all of you. I'm Xenia Fernandez. And I was thinking of the word that, comes to the top of my mind to explain how do I feel right now? And if you ask me, I'll say I feel ecstatic to be standing here on this stage to present the Impact Person of the Year 2021, hosted by the Exchange for Media Group. Our presenting partner, MX Player, co-powered by partner ABP Network. That's your cue for a round of applause. So come on, if you could just lose whatever you have in your hands and put your hands together, let everybody out there know we've begun. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. This evening, it's my pleasure to be standing here in the midst of the biggest names in the industries of marketing, media, and advertising. And I can already see on your faces that you're happy to be here, you're feeling pleasant. Most importantly, I can see some faces that are anxious and eager. Batado, who is Impact Person of the Year? We are going to get to that very, very shortly. But before that, I must tell you, this is our 17th edition. Last year, we held the ceremony in the capital city where Mr. Sanjeev Puri was awarded the title. And this year, here we are again. This award, as all of us know, recognizes excellence in the business of advertising, media, and marketing. The eminent names that all of us saw on the nominee list, I think they're all head turners, right? They've managed to make a mark and are in the process. They continue to leave a legacy in their respective field of work. No wonder it was quite a task to pick Impact Person of the Year. Since the inception of Impact Person of the Year in 2005, we have consistently raised the bar. And this evening, once again, we are going to throw light on the prominent work done by the nominees. We're going to, of course, pick the best. But honestly, if you ask me, once you make it to the list, well, you're a winner in your own right. Now, we're talking about winning, and this event has been curated and it's happening here right now because of winning partnerships. We'd like to thank our presenting partner, MX Player, co-powered by partner ABP Network. Let's have the sponsor AVs. Amazing.
मैं हीरो बनने नहीं आया, मैं तो इनका हीरो बदलने आया।
अब धमाका होगा, बड़ा धमाका।
आप तो हीरो हैं यहाँ के।
In times of rating games, what did a leading news network do to become and remain the most loved, the most followed, and the most watched? Master the game? Change the game? Reinvent the game? No, we just didn't play the game. the real reasons why we are the leading news network and what brands can gain from them.
We believe people love you when you understand them. We take joy in being a part of their lives.
We speak multiple local languages.
अर्जुनকে কিন্তু নিয়ে যাওয়া হচ্ছে
सोनीपत शराब घोटाले की खबर को प्रमुखता से दिखाया।
સામે આક્રોશ સામાન્ય જનતાનો અને વેપારીઓનો સામે આવ્યો છે।
कानून व्यवस्था के लिए बजट आवंटित किया गया था।
Very few know our viewers as closely as we do. That's why Bengal chooses to celebrate Durga Puja with us. Maharashtra chooses to celebrate Ganpati with us. The whole of Gujarat chooses to celebrate Navratri with us. We believe oneness with viewers is beyond numbers. We welcome brands to celebrate local culture and India. And when it comes to finding a national voice, the people of India find their voice in
सामने
ours.
टीएमसी 43 से 47 सीटें, बीजेपी 24 से 28 सीटें, कांग्रेस और लेफ्ट 12 से 14 सीटें।
গতকাল আমরা দেখিয়েছিলাম যে সিএনএক্স এর চূড়ান্ত দফার সমীক্ষায় তৃণমূল কংগ্রেস পেতে পারে
की माझ्या घरी मी पाहुणी असं नाही, तुम्ही पहिल्याच याला
तरी 14 वर्ष आपण जी भूमिका वठवताय
People are seeking knowledge and information more than ever. They want to know why are the things the way they are. And that's why we do what we do.
We don't only go by TRPs, but by touching people's heart. Audience, we don't measure you, we treasure you. We know news can change lives, and it is no accident that our tagline that we follow, that we have to make an informed and open society. We believe in healthy competition and not mindless sensationalism, quantification, fact, not fiction, truth, and not toxicity.
That's why we strive to bring information to people at all costs. Unbiased information. The kinds which build thought leadership. The kinds that are used by governments to form their social policy.
एक नवा ओटीटी प्लॅटफॉर्म केला
We believe purpose is beyond numbers. We invite purposeful brands to our platform to make a difference.
So today brands are more conscious about, their associations. Leading brands are looking at beyond numbers. Welcome to the club.
So we invite you to the new normal of ratings, thought leadership, regional meets national, people first. This is ABP Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for our partners, please? Okay, so to kick off this grand event, it's my pleasure to welcome on stage an award-winning music composer and singer whose unique expression of music itself has made her a popular voice at the Sydney Opera House and MTV Coke Studio festivals. However, there's a slight change. I'm going to ask her to join us in just a few minutes from now. Let me quickly check. Do we have time to go for the Honorable Governor? Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so, I was actually indulging in her formal introduction, but if you ask me, her real introduction is her voice itself. Please put your hands together for Sonam Kalra. All right, I am back. Sorry, a slight change. I have been told that the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra has joined us here. Yes, we are in his presence right now. And as we all know, he's on a very tight schedule. So we're going to make the most of every second and every minute that we have with him. So Sonam, I'm going to invite you on stage in just a few minutes from now. Thank you for your patience. And with that, we're going to take a couple of seconds to rearrange the stage so that we can invite our guests and dignitaries on the stage and kick off with what we're really here to do, which is present the Impact Person of the Year 2021. A few seconds, ladies and gentlemen, before the stage is perfect, well enough for me to introduce our dignitaries and guests. श्री कोश्यारी जी नमस्कार और हम सभी के तरफ से आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Can we have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra? आप अपना कीमती समय निकाल यहाँ आए हैं. आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, sir. And I'd like to request Mr. Avinash Pandey, CEO ABP Network, Mr. Nikhil Gandhi, COO MX Player, Dr. Anurag Batra, Chairman Exchange for Media and BW Business World, Mr. Naval Ahuja, Founder and Director Exchange for Media, to please join us, sir, on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for all of our guests and dignitaries on stage? And Dr. Batra, I'd like to request you to kindly present a token of our utmost appreciation and love to Honorable Governor. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd request all of you to kindly rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. Please take your seat. और दोस्तों आगे बढ़ते हैं. आइए देखते हैं कि इस साल के इम्पैक्ट पर्सन ऑफ द ईयर के प्रतियोगियों के नाम. Let's take a look.
It is that time of the year when we announce the coveted Impact Person of the Year. The IPOY is a recognition of excellence in the world of advertising, media, and marketing in India. Over the years, winners of IPOY have been top achievers and highly influential names in the industry. Be it Baba Ramdev of Patanjali Ayurved for the unprecedented disruption of the FMCG space in India, or Rajan Anandan, then MD of Google India, for being a change maker in India's digital ecosystem, or Baiju Ravindran, founder and CEO Baiju's, for revolutionizing the online ecosystem, and the most recent Sanjeev Puri, Chairman and MD ITC Limited, for steering the 100-year-old company to greater heights and driving ITC to transform with the times. Now, in its 17th year, the fight has got tougher. From the 6 nominees, IPOY 2021 will recognize that one person who has taken his company to newer heights and impacted the industry at large. The list this year includes pioneers, achievers, and trendsetters. Let's take a look at the contenders. Harsh Jain, Bhavit Sheth, co-founders Dream11. Harsh Jain and Bhavit Sheth's big idea to start Dream11 in 2008 was borrowed from IPL. Today, Dream11 is one of the biggest online gaming companies in the country. It touched 100 million registered users in 2020 that grew to 140 million in 2021. Vidit Atre, founder and CEO, Meesho. Vidit Atre's Meesho, the social commerce unicorn, is changing the lives of women by empowering them economically and giving an opportunity to 13 million small businesses. Today, the platform has sellers from around 20 states. Sanjeev Mehta, CEO and Managing Director, Hindustan Unilever Limited. Sanjeev Mehta's resilience and agility held the company strong during the peak of the pandemic. Under his leadership, HUL's market capitalization increased from $17 billion to over $65 billion in the past 8 years. Ankush Sachdeva, Bhanu Pratap Singh, and Farid Hassan, co-founders ShareChat. Ankush Sachdeva, Farid Hassan, and Bhanu Pratap Singh created one of India's largest short-form video platforms and reimagined the content creators' economy and social commerce through both ShareChat and Moj. Ghazal Alag and Varun Alag, co-founders Mamaearth. Within 5 years of founding Mamaearth, it became a unicorn at a valuation of $1.07 billion. Today, Ghazal and Varun Alag manage one of the fastest growing FMCG brands in India, which sells over 80 beauty and personal care products. Varun Dua, founder and CEO, Acko. Varun Dua created the fastest growing digital-first insurance company, revolutionizing the insurance sector with new age product categories. He hit the Startup Unicorn Club in 2021 after raising $225 million in the Series D round. With such a venerable list, it was clearly a huge task to choose the Impact Person of the Year 2021. Here's how we selected the winner. Stage 1 involved nominations by way of exclusive emails sent out by the Exchange for Media Group to senior industry leaders. Stage 2, the editorial team at Impact validated the responses and evaluated them to come up with the final nominee list. Stage 3, finally, there was voting on the nominees by a select few from across the advertising, media, and marketing fraternity on the basis of personal email invites sent by Impact. On the basis of pre-decided parameters, the respondents voted for the nominees. The results were collated to arrive at the Impact Person of the Year 2021. The iPoI winners of the past 16 years have set the bar very high. And with such a stellar list of nominees for 2021, the question is, who will take home the prestigious trophy this time?
दोस्तों हमारे सारे nominees के लिए एक बार जोरदार तालियां. Let's put our hands together for them. And on that note, Dr. Batra आपसे गुजारिश करूंगी कि आप please अपने विचार व्यक्त कीजिए. Welcome, sir.
गुड इवनिंग, थैंक यू जीनिया, शुक्रिया. आप सबको बसंत पंचमी की शुभकामनाएं और मेरी तरफ से तहे दिल से शुक्रिया गवर्नर साहब का that he's made time on a very busy schedule. He just finished an event at the Raj Bhavan from 5 to 6 p.m. and I think the Raj Bhavan is more active than ever in terms of engaging with the citizens of the state and of the city in terms of applauding what work they are doing. So please give our chief guest for the evening, Sri Koshari ji, a big round of applause. A bigger round of applause. Clapping is good for heart muscles. Thank you. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Avinash Pandey, Mr. Gandhi, my friend and partner Naval. Also, when we started Exchange for Media, there are many people who've been part of our journey and helped us come here. Some of them were the first Impact Person out there, which happened at Taj Lens, and Mr. Raj Nayak is one of them. I remember, I have to share this story. Our then editor chose a person That time the process wasn't there. And I remember we needed a chief guest, so I called him. So he got us the chief guest. 10 years later, again, we needed a chief guest. We called Mr. Nayak. I won't go into more details. We also have Mr. Markand Adhikari, who's a pioneer in the broadcasting space, the first listed media entity. Mr. Adhikari again has been, I think, as the last 15 Impact Person of the Year. This is one event that I request him to come, and he's always there. Mr. Shailesh Lodha, who's a noted poet, actor, performer. So thank you, Mr. Lodha, Mr. Podar, Sadhguruji, Mr. Mukesh, Dr. Mukesh Batra, who's, again, very preeminent. I don't have to introduce him. Mr. Harish Mehta, who's the author of a book and a coach. Mr. Jitendra Bhaga, when I started Exchange for Media 20 years back, I met him. Ms. Megha Tata, Mr. Prashant Kumar, Partho, Satyaki. There's some people's name I'm not purposely not taking because it will take away the suspense from the event. So if I'm not taking your name, it's for a good reason. My senior colleague, Ms. Nazia Rahman, who's the editor of Exchange for Media, Ms. Neeta Nair, who brings out Impact and has led Impact editorial for the last few years, almost 2 years. All my editorial colleagues from Exchange for Media, friends from the industry, Mr. Avinash Kaul is there, Ms. Megha Tata from Discovery is there. I could go on taking their names. Impact Person of the Year, when I'm doing this in Bombay, last year we took it to Delhi, and our Impact Person of the Year was Mr. Sanjeev Puri. We couldn't do the event in Bombay, but out of the 17 years, 15 years it's happened in Bombay. And the last time it happened in Bombay, there was a person whom I'm missing. I thought of him today. Once in a while, I think of him. And he told me it was the best Impact Person. This was a short event, this was crisp, and it was Baiju Ravindran's humility. He told me I'll stay on the stage for 20 minutes. He was on the stage for an hour that evening or an evening before. You had an event at the same venue, Mega. And he came out and he was at the last 15 Impact Person of the Year. Unfortunately, he went to heaven. He couldn't be at the 16th, and he's not. So I was today thinking of Mr. Pradeep Gua, and God bless his soul and God bless his family. But I did remember him today, and again, he encouraged us on our journey. Impact Person of the Year is being done at a time when we're meeting after 2 years of COVID. The economy is really rapidly coming back in some sectors. It's already galloping. It's come to pre-COVID levels. Digital transformation became the way of the year. So choosing the Impact Person of the Year in a landscape which was tough 2 years, categories were redefined, markets were redefined, ways of distribution was redefined, success was redefined. Just selling through traditional retail was not good enough. How did you do on your e-commerce? What is your marketplace strategy? What have you done to disrupt the marketplace? What have you done to grow the market which you're in, not just your gains? Those are the kind of things we looked at. What is your social impact? What did you do for people in the last year? One of the reasons our Prime Minister is so popular is because of the last mile impact of the schemes that the government of India and Prime Minister Modi's government has, because they सबसे पिछले वर्ग के लिए उन्होंने खाना COVID के 2 साल, and today we can be here because of the vaccination strategy of the government. We can agree, disagree on our political views, but one thing you will agree that the vaccination program that the government of India rolled out was exceptional, and that's why we can be big in this room and celebrate the Impact Person of the Year face to face. I have to say that. So we've chosen the Impact Person of the Year in the context of the changes that have come about in the last 2 years, the digital transformation of large companies. And again, you don't have to be a large company. You can be a startup and make a huge impact. So today's winner is somebody who has shown through all this, through social impact, through digital transformation, through impact on scale. I don't want to give the name away, but I want to just say that when you see the winner tonight, you will know that traditional companies are also keeping pace with new age companies. New age companies are also giving a run for money to traditional giants. So in that competition, we've chosen our Impact Person of the Year. I don't want to stay between you and the winner tonight. And I want to applaud all the nominees who are here, all the industry leaders who are here, and especially our chief guest, the Governor of Maharashtra, His Excellency Shri Bhagat Singh Koshari ji. He's no stranger to public life. He'll be completing 80 on 17 June. He doesn't look 80, sorry मैंने आपकी एज बता दी, बतानी नहीं चाहिए, विकिपीडिया पे है, but he's very active. That is the point I'm trying to make. I mean, the number of activities the Raj Bhavan does to encourage and to make sure he carries on his duties as the governor of Maharashtra is applause worthy. Please give him a big round of applause. He keeps asking questions. He asked me a question that day. He asked me a question just now. He asked me that day when I went to invite him कि ये बताइए कि पत्रकारों में सब कुछ कॉमन क्या होता है. तो मैंने अपनी तरफ से कुछ जवाब दिया. बोले ये नहीं, आप रिसर्च करके बताइएगा मुझे. Then Naval and me came out and Naval said, by the way, वो भी पत्रकार थे. I said maybe. Today he has given me another question to ponder over. But he's a very active person and he's a very humble person. He accepted our request at a short notice. It's very kind of him. I'm grateful to you, sir. Again, आपके आने से हमारे उत्सव की, सेलिब्रेशन की महिमा बढ़ती है, शान बढ़ती है. तो मेरे तरफ से और मेरे सब साथियों की तरफ से आपको आभार, हमारी इंडस्ट्री की तरफ से आभार. And as a chief minister of Uttarakhand, he did deal with journalists, and someday I look forward to those stories in his book. I hope you write a book so it be a bestseller. I don't want to stay between you and the winners. Also, Miss Sonam Kalra, who's performed at many Impact Person of the Year, especially the last one and some earlier one, is here. She will enthrall you with her soulful voice and soulful lyrics, and her whole band and entourage is here. Her co-performers are here. So please also give Miss Sonam Kalra a big round of applause. She's here from Delhi, and when you hear her, I'm sure you would want her back in the city. I can only say that by choosing the winner that we've chosen tonight, we've raised the bar. The industry has raised the bar. We look forward to celebrating the Impact Person of the Year tonight. Thank you. Good evening. God bless you. Please give our nominees and the chief guest a big round of applause again. Clapping is good for heart muscles. It relaxes you. If you haven't gone for a walk, this is your chance to get healthy. Zenia, back to you.
Dr. Batra, bahut shukriya. Thank you so much for setting context and for introducing us to all the many impactful people in this room. I'd now like to invite Mr. Nikhil Gandhi, COO MX Player. आपसे दरख्वास्त है, आप प्लीज चंद शब्द कहें.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually right here only for fulfilling sponsor obligations. Amongst all the dignitaries who are present here, they've chosen me because of the fact that I represent MX Player. And now that I'm here, and given that Governor Saab has pressurized me कि मैं हिंदी में बात करूं, I will try my level best to do a few sponsor plugs as usual. बिल्कुल सर, मैं कोशिश करूंगा, but I'm not very sure. बिल्कुल. And given that we are here to facilitate the Impact Person of the Year, I'm going to try and give you a few lines of impact that MX Player has been able to create in the OTT universe, in the digital video universe. So to begin with, we are the only Indian app to have been downloaded 1 billion times on Google Play Store. This is a feat that no other Indian company has been able to achieve. There are only 16 other global apps to have done so, and I think that's a proud moment for us, not just as MX Player, but also as an Indian company. We are the largest in terms of our user base, 300 million users globally, and we have a time spent of over 56 minutes. So as per App Annie, we feature in the top 10 as far as video, social, and entertainment is concerned. And when it comes to India, we have over 200 million users. And I think the kind of time that they spend on the app gives us a very strong presence in the OTT universe. We are only second to YouTube. And one fun fact is that all other OTT platforms put together is equal to the size of MX Player. So that is the kind of impact that MX Player has been able to create in the ecosystem. Talking of the highest rated and the highest watched web show ever, we have a show called Ashram. It has been watched over 150 billion views. It's generated in the last 2 years of its existence. We're launching the season 3 of it in the next month or so. And so on. There are lots of such impactful areas that MX Player has been able to generate in a short span of 3 years. And the global icon that we have become, we are present in over 250 countries globally. Our OTT service is in over 13 countries in global markets. And we're only growing from strength to strength. We have over 40 shows launching in the coming year. So lots of excitement lined up. Thank you very much, Anurag sir. and Naval sir for having me here. I know them not just professionally, but personally, and I'd like to congratulate the Impact team for having such a wonderful event lined up here. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having me. I wish you all a great evening.
थैंक यू सो मच मिस्टर गांधी। और दोस्तों, अब वो क्षण आ गया है, वो पल आ गया है जिसके लिए हम सभी यहाँ पे उपस्थित है। इट्स टाइम टू अनाउंस एक्सचेंज फॉर मीडिया प्रेजेंट्स इम्पैक्ट पर्सन ऑफ द ईयर। नाम घोषित करेंगे इस ऑडियो विजुअल के द्वारा। लेट्स टेक अ लुक।
The Impact Person of the Year 2021 goes to Sanjeev Mehta, CEO and MD of HUL. Under his leadership, HUL's market capitalization increased from $17 billion to over $65 billion in the past 8 years. And it has also become one of the most valuable companies in India. Under his guidance, HUL created its winning in many India's model and classified the country into 15 consumer clusters. And one example of this model's success is it enabled Lifebuoy to ramp up capacity 30 times and launched 17 hand sanitizer variants in just 100 days during the pandemic. Pushing for inclusive growth for all of India, HUL set up 29 factories in remote areas. Through its Project Shakti, it created 136,000 women micro-entrepreneurs across 18 states. Today, 100% of HUL's electricity is certified renewable. In a step further towards sustainable growth, it has collected and safely disposed of more than 1 lakh tons of post-consumer plastic waste, and the journey continues. The Impact Person of the Year 2021 award is for this visionary leader, whose legacy will continue to strengthen the industry in the years to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Impact Person of the Year, let's hear it for Mr. Sanjeev Mehta. A standing ovation, please. Sir, request you to please join us on stage. It is that time of the evening. So how about we clap to the beat of the music? Come on, let's make this moment really, really special for Mr. Mehta and for all of us. पांडे, आपसे दरख्वास्त है कि आप प्लीज उस साइटेशन को हम सबको पढ़ के सुनाएं, and of course also share your thoughts with us after you've read the citation. Can we have a hand mic, please?
Honorable Governor sir, मैं सिर्फ ये साइटेशन अंग्रेजी में पढ़ूंगा, उसके बाद हिंदी में बात करूंगा। The Impact Person of the Year 2021 title is awarded to Sanjeev Mehta, CEO and MD HUL, for turning Hindustan Unilever into one of the most valuable companies in India and making it future-proof with innovations. Over the years, Mr. Mehta has set himself and his company apart with core values such as integrity, a sharp eye for detail, ethics, and love for the nation. He firmly believes what's good for India is good for HUL. Mr. Mehta recently completed 20 years as the CEO and executive chairman of Unilever Businesses and is known for his ability to spot macro level issues early. His strategies helped HUL grow both in sales and profit immediately in the months after the pandemic struck, when most other FMCG companies reported a decline. Under Mr. Mehta's leadership, the company's market capitalization has increased from $17 billion to over $65 billion in past 8 years. That's an incredible achievement indeed. With him at the helm, HUL has ramped up digital capabilities and seen immense success with his B2B ordering app, Shikhar, which also helps small retailers across the country in a very big way. Under your leadership, Mr. Mehta, through the merger with the GSK Consumer Healthcare Limited in India, an acquisition of brands like Horlicks and Boost, the company established a strong foothold in the wider nutrition and health food drinks category and also become one of the largest food and refreshment business in the country today. HUL is now the second largest Unilever business in the world. Mr. Mehta, you are not only a thought leader, but a dynamic businessman, an innovator of the order that the industry has not witnessed in a while. And the Impact Person of the Year 2021 award is for the recognition of this impact of your work. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much. Shri Bhagat Singh Koshyari ji, Honorable Governor, State of Maharashtra, my friends and distinguished people on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and namaskar. I accept this wonderful award with a lot of pride and happiness. And it may sound like a cliche, but you can't whistle a symphony. You need an orchestra to play a symphony. And I have had the honor to be a conductor of one of the greatest orchestras, my team at Hindustan Unilever. So I owe this recognition to them. It's a reflected glory for me. Let me use this to reminisce a bit. I'm a quintessential middle-class person from Mumbai. My parents were immigrants from what is now Pakistan. They came during partition. And the values of hard work, integrity, perseverance, and love for the nation, I have imbibed from my parents. I've also had the privilege to work for a great company called Unilever for the last 30 years, and a privilege to lead businesses in different parts of the world for the last 20 years. And for the last 8 years, I have been leading what can very clearly be talked about as a jewel in the crown of Unilever, which is Hindustan Unilever and the business in South Asia. Unilever, Hindustan Unilever, the source of the capital may be Anglo-Dutch, but our ethos is Indian. Our heart beats for India. We think India first. And we have a very simple but a profound philosophy. जो देश के लिए अच्छा है, वो हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर के लिए अच्छा है. And this is what drives us to innovate for India. You know, when people talk about market cap, it does please me, but that's not what drives me. We have what we call as a multi-stakeholder model, where our focus is on how do we meet the needs of our consumers, our customers? How do we positively impact the planet, the country? And how do we look after our people? And we believe if we do it the right way, the shareholder value does get created. It's a result of what you do. So I always say focus on value and not valuations. Focus on values and valuation will happen. And that's what drives us. Over the last few years, understanding कि हमारे देश में पानी की काफी बड़ी समस्या है. We've been working in nearly 25,000 villages, and we have created a water potential, working on the demand side and supply side of 1.9 trillion liters, which is enough to serve the drinking water needs of the entire population for a year. Now, this is not something you may wonder, why is it core for Hindustan Unilever? It's not core for us. But we cannot just sit on the sidelines and as a big corporation say that only the government has to solve this problem. As a large corporation, it is our duty to be a part of the solution. And that is why we've been working on it. Last year, when the second wave happened, and we understood that there is going to be a gap between the supply of oxygen and the demand of oxygen, we were able to bring in 2 plane loads of concentrators. And we deployed 5,000 concentrators in 10 cities under Project Hope, where O stood for oxygen. And we gave a number and people could dial. We did a due diligence. We supplied oxygen free of cost, the concentrator. We taught them how to use, took it back when they had finished the use and redeployed it. We were able to save thousands of lives. I think that goes back to the ethos of the company. And I'm so proud and privileged to stand here today to accept this award on behalf of the company Hindustan Unilever. And standing here today, I would like to rededicate myself to working for the Indian nation, to working for our consumers, to working for our environment and planet, and making a difference. Thank you so much. God bless you all, and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mehta, and many, many congratulations to you, sir. Thank you so much for claiming this award, I would say, not by title or by position, but by pure influence and inspiration. Thank you very much. And now it is my opportunity, my pleasure, my privilege. मैं गुजारिश करना चाहूंगी कि हमारे Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, Shri Koshyari जी, आप अपने विचार हम सभी से व्यक्त करें.
Felicitation of Impact Person of the Year Award by Exchange for Media Group. Sorry, I forgot. Don't mind. You please all be seated. Why are you seated? Be seated, please. Yeah. क्या इस पावन अवसर पर हमारे I'm fortunate enough to give you this award, Mr. Sanjeev Mehta. हमारे अनुराग बत्रा जी, नवल आहूजा जी और अविनाश पांडे कहाँ गए? Oh, you have exchanged? Huh? You are going to be the next impact person of the year? Huh? You have exchanged the seat? No. Maybe even next year he may be the impact person of the year. Who knows? हमारे अविनाश पांडे जी, निखिल गांधी जी, actually when Mr. Mehta was speaking, and I was really, and he has an impact on me. And you chose him as the person of impact person of the year, the jury. But he has an impact on me. Why so? He is leading such a big company, big corporate house in India, Southeast Asia. But what he basically said, that his company and he believe not in valuation, but in values. I think if at all, we all believe in this theory, in this dictum, our India will be valued #1 in the world. क्योंकि हम बिजनेस करते हैं, कोई काम करते हैं, तो जीवन में लगता है कि अधिक से अधिक लाभ, प्रॉफिट, ये हमारा लक्ष्य हो गया है और होना भी चाहिए. अरे पढ़ रहे हैं, स्टूडेंट डजंट expect and hope and has an ambition to get first and to top the class, then he may not be able to do what he has the potential to do. अच्छा है. But base क्या? What should be the base? The base should be the values. हमारे जो जीवन के मूल्य है, वो जब हमारा आधार होता है, तब फिर हम न केवल सफलता प्राप्त करते हैं, बल्कि we leave an imprint and impact upon the people, upon the society. हम समाज के अंदर एक छाप छोड़ जाते हैं. और ये जो वैल्यूज है, मुझे हिंदुस्तान के 2-3 एक बड़े कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेज है, बहुत सारे बड़े आजकल एक से एक अच्छे बनते लोग, डेली नए अच्छे लोग बनते जा रहे हैं. लेकिन कुछ हाउसेज ऐसे हैं कि उनकी परंपरा है, फॉर 100 years, 200 years, ऐसी भी कंपनीज है, ऐसे भी कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेज है. बहुत से हाउसेज मैंने देखे हैं. लॉन्ग बैक व्हेन आई वाज ए स्टूडेंट, हम ये नाम सुनते थे. मनी ऑफ देम हैव डिसअपीयर्ड. कहाँ चले गए पता नहीं चलता. बड़ा नाम होता था मेहता साहब, नाम नहीं लूंगा, कहाँ गए पता ही नहीं चलता. But some after 200 years, after 150 years, उसी ग्लैमर के साथ आज भी चल रहे हैं. और उन सब का मैंने जो मूल देखा, द बेस देखा, वो ये कि दे रिलाइड, दे बिलीव अपॉन द वैल्यूज ऑफ लाइफ. जीवन के मूल्य हमारे क्या है, हम किन मूल्यों पर जिंदा रहते हैं, कौन से इथिक्स पर, कौन से मॉरल्स पर हम चल रहे हैं. दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन द मनी, देन द वैल्यूएशन. और इसलिए किसी को ज्यादा लंबा जीना है, लंबा चलना है, तो ये जो जीवन के मूल्य हैं, वैल्यूज ऑफ लाइफ है, अगर हम उसको चलेंगे तो I think we will get more success like as well as Mr. Mehta. ये जीवन में, इसलिए मैं I'm really thankful to you. I never have expected that you will speak this way. तो हम लोग तो समाज में ऐसे ही, इसलिए we always speak and this स्वामी जी बड़े गुरु जी बैठे हैं, they always speak the same thing which you are speaking. परंतु ये अपने लाइफ में हम कुछ जीवन मूल्यों को, लाइफ वैल्यूज को लेकर के चलेंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि अच्छा करेंगे. अरे मिस्टर मेहता वाज स्पीकिंग अबाउट व्हाट दे हैव डन इन ऑल द सोशल वेलफेयर एंड ऑल द फॉर द सोसाइटी. about water and other things. अभी बहुत कुछ करना है. अब इतने लंबे समय से HUL इतना दुनिया के अंदर प्रसिद्ध है. हम लोगों में से बहुत से लोगों का तो इनके cosmetics also दिया था, cosmetic, the soap and all this, all these. Lifebuoy. So Lifebuoy, once upon a time when I was very young, so Lifebuoy was our life. It's prestigious thing for that time, not peers and all this and that. So many are nowadays. So, still Lifebuoy is going on. I don't know what is the market value nowadays, but still it is there probably. अच्छा लगता है कि भाई एक चीज चल रही है, लंबे समय तक चले. आप किसी पिछल तारे की तरह से ऊपर से नीचे आ गए, इससे काम नहीं चलेगा. एक लॉन्ग उसमें कैसे हम काम कर सकते हैं. तो ये एक HUL के एक अपने उदाहरण है, अपना इनका एक एग्जाम्पल सेट है. और उसमें मुझे जब मेहता साहब बोल रहे थे, संजीव जी, कि पाकिस्तान से आए, इमिग्रेंट्स के रूप में आए, शरणार्थी के रूप में आए, उनके पिताजी, एंड इतना ऊंचा उठने के बाद भी what I could observe from his speech and from his body language, कि he has got all the humility that everyone should have. मैं आ नहीं रहा था, ये बत्रा को मैं गाली दे रहा था, भैया आई एम सो ओवर पैक्ड है, कैसे आऊं, समय ही नहीं है. बुढ़ा आदमी 80 साल का हो गया उसे. So really, Mr. Batra, I would have missed this opportunity. I'm thankful to you also. आप सबसे भी मेरा ये अनुरोध है, हम लोग जीवन के अंदर, अभी मैं पांडे बोल रहे थे, नहीं पांडे, you have also some contribution to this event, na? I think so. What I sense from all this and that Monday, because he has given you some importance. तो मैं पांडे जी से बोल रहा था, मैंने कहा भाई हिंदी में बोलो तो क्या नुकसान है? तो वो फिर थोड़ा संकोच कर रहे थे. मिस्टर गांधी ने भी कहा कि हाँ, अब तो मुझे एक फेलियर यहाँ आकर के लगा कि for last 2.5 years I have attended so many programs, and wherever I went, even the FICCI, the Chambers, all this and that. Why don't you speak in Hindi? Probably you are in Maharashtra, but first of all you should speak in Marathi. Mr. Mehta can speak the English because he is from outside, he is your chief guest. He can, but why the conductors? And I was very happy to see this girl, lady speaking in Hindi. अच्छा लग रहा था, और आपको भी अच्छा लगता होगा. दो शब्द हमारे संजीव अगर हिंदी में बोले तो आप लोगों को बड़ा मजा आया होगा. ये इसलिए तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि after for last 2.5 years I am here in Maharashtra, and I always insist either you speak in Marathi or speak in Hindi. After all, how long in India the English have gone? We must learn. I am also a student of English literature. How long we will be going on speaking English and English, at least in such events? क्या हम स्विच ओवर नहीं कर सकते अपनी देश की किसी भाषा में? तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि I don't have got any impact in Maharashtra. I can never be the impact person of Maharashtra. Maybe these are all big people that they may consider, they may think in for future कि भाई ठीक है अंग्रेजी अच्छी बोलो, सीखो, जर्मन भी सीखो, चाइनीज भी सीखो. Where this is necessary, you will have to speak in English. कोई जरूरी थोड़ी कि सब वहाँ अभी कहो कि हिंदी बोलो, इंटरप्रेटर लाओ, देन यू जस्ट स्पीक इट। अब मुझे इतने विदेशी लोग आते हैं, सो फॉरेन डिग्निटीज आते हैं, कभी किंग आता है, कभी प्रेसिडेंट आता है, कभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर आता है, कंसल जनरल तो रोज ही आते रहते हैं। देन आई हैव टू स्पीक इन इंग्लिश कंपल्सन, बिकॉज दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी, बिकॉज दे आर नॉट फ्रॉम इंडिया। तो लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं ये भी कुछ कोशिश होनी चाहिए। Particularly, I always insist upon Mehta upon corporates. Many big people come to me. I'm very fortunate about, and I sometimes I'm surprised to me that such big people come, just like you also, from such a big company, such a big man, a small man, now giving you the award. They invite me. So then I say that yes, कहीं न कहीं जो वैल्यूज हैं, आपने कहा कि यूनिवर्सल इज फॉर नेशन, और ये जो वैल्यूज है, ये जीवन मूल्य है, दे आर नॉट ओनली फॉर द नेशन, दे आर फॉर होल द ह्यूमैनिटी, फॉर होल द यूनिवर्स। आज दुर्भाग्य से हमारी जो एजुकेशनल पॉलिसी रही है, उससे क्या हो गया कि हमारे जीवन में वैल्यूज कम हो गए। अभी आप देखते ना, सो मेनी पीपल, कितना बुरा लगता है, thousands of crore rupees and overnight gone to Britain, gone to America, कौन I don't know, so many, कैसा लगता है? It means पैसा कमाया, बैंक से भी ले लिया, है? अगर थोड़ा वैल्यू होते, अरे भाई पाप लगेगा यार, पाप है। हाउ कैन यू डिफाइन इट मिस्टर गांधी? पाप लगेगा, पाप, यू कैन डिफाइन इट इन इंग्लिश प्रॉब्ली, है। तो ये बड़ा कठिन काम है। तो इसलिए हम जीवन में, एंड देयर आर मेनी एस्पिरेंट्स हियर, आई एम दैट यू आर सिटिंग हियर aspiring for higher and higher, but many young girls and young women and people are, men are here. You must aspire higher. You must try to get higher. You must try to earn more and more. But also there is base. Base is the values. Or the Desh Hindustan. Why? After so many onslaughts, thousands of years, it stands where it was some 5,000 back. क्यों है आज हिंदुस्तान वहां? Why everyone is looking after Nehru, after this what you call Narendra Modi? क्यों है? क्योंकि जीवन के मूल्य है। हमको जीवन के उन मूल्यों को लेकर के चलेंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि हम एक और यूनिलीवर हिंदुस्तान, यूनिलीवर ही नहीं, लीवर भी, हार्ट भी, माइंड भी है, सब अच्छा बना लेंगे, है? एक हेल्दी हिंदुस्तान बना लेंगे, वेल्दी हिंदुस्तान बना लेंगे। तो उस दिशा में जब कभी भी हम आए तो आई थिंक मुझे लगता है कि उस दिशा में हम सोचेंगे। तो आज का ये जो इवेंट है, मैं इसलिए कि अपना मैं ये विषय बोलने के लिए नहीं आया था, पर चूंकि ही टच्ड दिस टॉपिक एंड आई वाज वेरी मच इम्प्रेस्ड एंड टच्ड बाय योर दिस स्टेटमेंट। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि जिस बात को संजीव जी ने कहा है, उसका इम्पैक्ट मुझ पर तो पड़ा है, अगर आप पर भी पड़ा हो तो हाथ खड़ा कर दीजिए। यू कैन रेज योर हैंड्स। चलो, थैंक यू। डोंट माइंड, आई हैड बीन ए टीचर सो आई यूज्ड टू से सो, डोंट माइंड। इसलिए मेरा आपसे निवेदन है, हम सब लोग इस देश को आगे बढ़ाना है। हमारा लक्ष्य देश को आगे बढ़ाना है। दुनिया में ह्यूमैनिटी की कोई रक्षा कर सकता है, वो भारत कर सकता है। ये कोई मैं फैनेटिक के रूप में नहीं बोल रहा, कोई जिंगोइस्ट के रूप में नहीं बोल रहा। ये फैक्ट है कि भारत से ही, कल्पना करिए, एक का आवाज हमारे प्रधानमंत्री लगाते हैं। सालों साल से विवेकानंद जी 1893 में अमेरिका गए, इंग्लैंड गए, वहां योग बता गए, वहां मेडिटेशन सब बता गए। रामदेव जी, इतना नाम हो गया, लेकिन प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी ने कहा कि नहीं, 21 जून को योग बनाना है। 180 कंट्रीज ने वन उसमें कह दिया हाँ हम भी मनाएंगे, और मना रहे। अब देखिए कृपा करके, तो हम लोग अपने पर, अपने जो मूल्य हैं उन पर विश्वास करें। हम बिजनेस में भी उन मूल्यों को लेकर के चलेंगे। हमारे पहले से ही आजकल ये CSR, कॉर्पोरेट, ये सब चीजें आ गई हैं, लेकिन पहले से ही कि इतना इतना दान करना चाहिए, पुण्य करना चाहिए, ये पहले से हमारे देश में है। अब उसको हम कैसे आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं, उस चीज को सोचते हुए आप जितने भी लोग यहाँ पर इकट्ठा हैं, आप किसी भी प्रोफेशन में हैं, किसी भी कहीं पर भी हैं, मुझे लगता है कि कहीं न कहीं थोड़ा अपने भारत के जो जीवन मूल्य है, आज मैं दिन भर कम से कम आधे दर्जन प्रोग्राम अटेंड करने के बाद यहाँ आ रहा हूँ। कहीं पर जैन का प्रोग्राम था, कहीं पर बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर का प्रोग्राम था, कहीं पर बैसाखी का प्रोग्राम, डिफरेंट प्रोग्राम्स। लेकिन मुझे सब जगह एक ही चीज लगती है कि भाई देखो, हम सब एक बड़ा गरिमामय, गौरवपूर्ण ऐसा हमारे हिस्ट्री रही, इतिहास रहा है। ग्लोरियस, वेरी वेरी ग्लोरियस। हम उसको छोड़ दें कि हम क्यों पराजित हो गए ना पराजित। अब तो स्वतंत्र है ना, आजाद है? अब तो आजादी के बाद कुछ आगे बढ़ो ना, है? तो इसलिए मैंने तुम्हारा फिर भूल जा रहा है मैं, क्या पेपर है? Exchange for Media Group, maybe not so big like this ABP channel, like HUL, you may not be so small, but your thinking is so high कि तुमने कहा कि नहीं, मैं every year I will choose someone as impact person of India. So you have got your own impact this way. Even Mr. Mehta will remember you ever कि देखो भाई, सम्मान सबको चाहिए। अगर वाइडन को भी बुलाओगे तो वो भी आ जाएगा, तो सम्मान तो चाहिए ना आदमी को, ऑनर। वो तो चाहिए ना, उसकी तो भूख सब में होती है। वो जो पेट्स होते हैं घर में ना, उनको भी सम्मान दिए, दे आल्सो वांट रिगार्ड कि भाई लव, अफेक्शन, रिवार्ड, वो भी चाहते, पेट्स भी चाहते। तो ये तो कैसी बड़ी चीज है? और ये तुम्हारा सोच है बत्रा साहब, बहुत अच्छा। अब इतने बड़े संत बैठे, मैं कुछ डाइडेक्टिक और कुछ सर्मनाइजिंग टाइप का उपदेशात्मक मेरी बात हुई तो आप मुझे माफ करना, परंतु आज मैं अम्बेडकर जयंती के अवसर पर और इस आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव में इतना सुंदर प्रोग्राम, एंड पर्टिकुलरली द आइडिया that Kibang awarding an impact person of the country is a very good idea. And such new ideas will, Mr. Gandhi will do some, Mr. This Nawal will do something, others will do something. ये कुछ ऐसे काम करते रहेंगे हम लोग, बाकी जिंदगी में खाते कमाते सब नहीं है? तो अच्छे काम, अच्छा लगता है। और इतना सुंदर आपने कार्यक्रम किया, मैं आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, आपका बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। और वंस अगेन आई कांग्रेचुलेट मिस्टर संजीव मेहता एंड होप दैट मच हैज कम फ्रॉम हिम एंड मच स्टिल अवेट्स टू कम फ्रॉम हिम, एंड आई होप गॉड ब्लेस यू। आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
श्री कोश्यारी जी, थैंक यू सो मच। आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर, हमारे साथ कुछ क्षणों तक बने रहिए। अब मैं आपसे दरख्वास्त करूंगी सर कि आप हमारा जो इम्पैक्ट मैगजीन का स्पेशल एडिशन है, इम्पैक्ट पर्सन ऑफ द ईयर, जहां पे मिस्टर संजीव मेहता हमारी जो आज के विनर है, उसको आप रिलीज कीजिए सर। मिस्टर पांडे, रिक्वेस्ट यू टू प्लीज जॉइन अस ऑन स्टेज। And ladies and gentlemen, that is your cue for a round of applause. Come on. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Aapka bahut bahut shukriya. Please take your seat. And now I'd like to request founder and director of Exchange for Media, Mr. Naval Ahuja, to please say a few words.
No, I'd use this. Thank you so much, Zinia. Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, Shri Koshyari. बहुत बहुत आभार आपका कि आपने शॉर्ट नोटिस पे, जैसे अनुराग ने बोला, हमारे लिए समय निकाला. And this is a very auspicious day, as he mentioned, Baisakhi, Ambedkar Jayanti. So आज के दिन आप आए हमारे लिए, आपका बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन. For those of you who might not know, Mr. Koshyari also has been a journalist himself. He was the founding and managing editor of a newspaper that he founded in 1975 called Parvat Pyush from Pithoragarh. So like Anurag said, he will have many a story to tell. And those of you who are history buffs might also want to know that our winner, Mr. Mehta, belongs to a company, though it's a global company, but it has deep roots in the Indian ecosystem. The first time HUL did, or back then it was not HUL, did business in India was in 1931, if I'm not mistaken. Almost 91 years now. It goes a long, long way back. So it's more Indian in many ways than one. And I recall the last time we had Impact Person of the Year in Mumbai. The winner was Baiju Ravindran, as you would have seen in the reel. And the kind of impact, that company Baiju has had on the education system in India is immense, is very deep. And there is no other company more than Hindustan Unilever that has impacted India's society, India's population in a deeper manner. Mr. Mehta spoke so nicely about all the initiatives they are doing. I dug out one of the old interviews he did, and that kind of explains his philosophy. He said to Gulf News in 2012 that I'm convinced if you don't believe in socialism in your 20s, you don't have a heart. I'm convinced that if you don't believe in socialism in 20s, you don't have a heart. And if you don't believe in capitalism in your 30s, you don't have a mind. I think capitalism is still the best way of allocating scarce resources, but it has to be tempered with compassion. And a wonderful, I think he's a man who, lives that, what he said, almost 10 years back. And you would have seen through the reel and what other people have spoken about the kind of wealth creation Unilever has done. I mean, at the peril of repeating, I'll say it again. They've gone from 17 billion to 70 billion valuation in the time that he's been at the helm. That's I don't think significant is the right word that captures the enormity of the achievement. And I did not remember this. I had to dig this out and, read it online. Economic Times, India's key business paper, did a story when he took over, which headlined saying, naming of Sanjeev Mehta as HUL CEO comes as a surprise. And the reason they said it was that, before him, all of the HUL MDs and CEOs had been groomed through the HUL India ecosystem. And he had never worked in India before he took over HUL in India. He had worked in Bangladesh, he had worked in Philippines. He had extensive experience of working with the company. He came into India and this is what he's achieved. This is what he's done. So my congratulations to you, Mr. Mehta, again, and to your entire team. Like you rightly said, this is not an award. This is not a personal award alone. This goes to your entire team. So congratulations again on this well-deserved recognition. Our thanks also to our partners and supporters, Avinash, Nikhil, both of you and your teams, ABP News as well as MX Player, for supporting this initiative. And thanks to you, all of you, for making it to the event at a short notice changed venue. So I hope you've enjoyed the evening so far. The evening is not anywhere getting over. Right after I get off stage, the lovely Sonam Kalra performs, and after that there's a Q&A on stage with Mr. Mehta. So please stay back for that. You will get your chance to hear more about his views on what's happening in the Indian business and social ecosystem. With that, thank you again. Thank you, Mr. Koshyari. for gracing this occasion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahuja. So this is where we will have to say alvida for now to Mr. Koshyari. I request all of you to kindly rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
श्री कोश्यारी जी, एक बार फिर से हम सभी की तरफ से आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस हियर दिस इवनिंग. आपने समारोह का महत्व बढ़ा दिया. थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. And the stage is set. I'd like to invite, like Mr. Batra already introduced her, the soulful voice Sonam Kalra on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, request you to please take your seat as
Amazing.
मैं हीरो बनने नहीं आया, मैं तो इनका हीरो बदलने आया.
अब धमाका होगा, बड़ा धमाका.
आप तो हीरो हैं यहाँ के.
all right, dosto, please take your seat. Sonam Kalra is on the stage. I'd like to use a lot of adjectives right now to introduce her, but like I said earlier, her voice is her introduction. Please take your seat. Request you to kindly settle down, everybody. Thank you very much. बैठ जाइए. आप सभी से दरख्वास्त है, आपका बैठ जाइए. Thank you so much.
Please sit down so that we got Ms. Sonam Kalra and her band from Delhi. There's no lack of talent, but I have some idea of the kind of music Mr. Mehta likes. So really it's in his honor. So please, I request all of you to sit down so that you can enjoy the evening. Please, you can do networking a little later. I have nothing against that. But if you sit down, it'll be nice. Mr. Kapadia, Mr. Tarkas, you want to sing after the little later, okay? And also my friend, Mr. Radhakrishnan Silla is there. He's the author of the Chanakya series. I forgot to, Pillai is here. I forgot to acknowledge your presence. Sorry. There may be others, I'm getting old like Mr. Koshyari. No hair left anymore. So anyway.
Thank you so much, Dr. Batra. Sonam, over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Check. Check. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here today. It's so nice to be able to say thank you so much for being here today. Anurag, thank you for always believing in what I try and say through my music. And Naval, where are you? I can't see you, but thank you for the same. Many, many congratulations, Mr. Mehta. You know, I've been thinking a lot about the last year as well. And I was recently asked to speak on what someone termed as the absent year. And when they asked me to speak about the absent year, I realized that yes, we have been absent from the past few years, really. We've been absent from our friends, from our families, from what we believed or knew to be normal. But the wonderful thing that came out in this so-called absent year was that we were really present. We were present for our families and friends in a way that we perhaps hadn't done for many years. We were present for each other, and I know that just by what you said, Project Hope, we were present for strangers, and we realized the most important truth of it all, that really we cannot function in isolation. We have to learn. We understand the value, we understood the value of community, and we understood that the greatest religion, despite all this talk of religion in India, and it's a fucked up phrase, the only religion that really matters at the end of it all is the religion of humanity. And so for each of you that understood that and came to that realization, I applaud you, and I applaud you, sir, for the wonderful work you have done, for making even hand sanitizers available for oxygen. I'm getting goosebumps as I say this. So ladies and gentlemen, I request you to please give a huge round of applause to the impact person of the week. And as he said something that really resonates with me, it's not about valuation, it's not about how far you reach, but how many hearts you can touch. Emily Dickinson said, and it's coming to my mind as I'm sitting in front of you, the great poet said, if I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. If you in your life can help even one person, then that makes you someone who has impact. And I would like to talk, picking up from something Samantha said about how when we are an individual voice, we can make a huge difference. Your voice is the most important tool you have. When you use your voice to speak out against injustice, to speak out with the voiceless, to speak out when you see not only injustice to yourself, but to someone you don't know, that is your most powerful tool. And so as I said, the power of the individual voice is very, very strong. But the power, the absolute power of the collective voice is unstoppable. So to quote the words of Fez and Fez, you mentioned your parents in Pakistan, so I thought it would be nice to start with this. Bol ke lab azad hai tere, bol ke lab azad hai tere, bol zaban ab tak teri hai, tera sudwar ye jism hai tera, bol ke jaan ab tak teri hai. Speak out, because your lips, they are still free. Your voice, it is your own. Your body, this life is your own. And I added a refrain to it, which says, Bolo ek awaaz hai hum, bolo ek awaaz hai hum. बोल के लब आजाद हैं तेरे, बोल ज़बान अब तक तेरी है, तेरा सुतवा जिस्म है तेरा, बोल के जान अब तक तेरी है, बोल के लब आजाद हैं तेरे, बोल ज़बान अब तक तेरी है, तेरा सुतवा जिस्म है तेरा, बोल के जान अब तक तेरी है। देख के आहंगर की दुकान में धुंध है शोले सुर्ख है आहन, खुल गए डाके कुफलों के दहाने, फैला हर एक जंजीर का दामन, बोल के लब आजाद है तेरे, बोल ज़बान तक तेरी है, एक आवाज़ है हम, बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम, बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम, बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम, एक आवाज़ है हम, बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम। बोलिए थोड़ा वक्त बहुत है, जिस्मो ज़बान की मौत से पहले, बोल के सच जिंदा है अब तक, बोल जो कुछ कहना है कह ले, बोलिए थोड़ा वक्त बहुत है, जिस्मो ज़बान की मौत से पहले, बोल के सच जिंदा है अब तक, बोल जो कुछ कहना है कह Thank you. Thank you so much. Could someone just come and see? Our monitors aren't working. We're singing off the PA, which is fine, but it would be really great if our monitors worked. In class when your monitors, yes. I'm presuming you were never class monitor, given that statement in that case. So the next piece, Shukriya bhai sahab, wo wala bhi kar dijiye. Bhaiya ji, wo wala bhi kar dijiye. So the next piece we will present to you is based on the poetry of Baba Bulle Shah. I don't think you got a chance to say, I have created something called, my music is really known by the brand of the Sufi Gospel Project. And what I really try and do through the music of the Sufi Gospel Project, the reason I created it, was, to me, Sufism, most of you would know this, it's not a religion, it's a way of life. And it means an acceptance of all humanity as equal. So when I created the Sufi Gospel Project, I wanted to say that being Indian, living in the Indian ethos, growing up here, everything is a part of who we are. And so if I was to tell my story through Sufism, I was going to include many different languages, and also being a citizen of the world. So languages from across the world, poetry from different regions, languages, religions, times, which seemed to be different, but when you went to the core of the poetry, you would find everyone was really saying the same thing, whether it was Rabia al-Basri in Iran, who would say that in my soul there is a temple, a shrine, a church, a mosque that dissolve in God. Prayer should bring us to an altar where no walls or names exist. In my soul, there is a temple, a shrine, a church, a mosque that dissolve in God. Whether it was Rabia al-Basri or Kabir, who would say, Kabir Das, ke moko kahan dhoonde re bande, main to tere paas mein, na main jap mein, na main tap mein, na main vrat upvas mein, na mandir mein, na masjid mein, na Kaabe Kailash mein, खोजी होए तुरंत मिल जा इस पल की तलाश में कहें कबीर सुनो भाई साधो मैं तो हूं विश्वास में. And Baba Bulle Shah, 16th century poet, whose works, his poetry is so relevant even today, Baba Bulle Shah says, he says, chal buleya chal uthe chaliye jithe sare anne. Chal buleya chal uthe chaliye jithe sare anne. Na koi saadi zaat pachane, te na koi sanu manne. Take me, my friend, to live in that place where everyone is blind. I want to live in a land where everyone is blind, because if they are blind, they will not be able to discriminate amongst us on the basis of caste, creed, gender, or religion. That, my friend Buleya, that is where I want to live. Chal Buleya, chal uthe chaliye. चल चल बुलेया चल उठे चलिए हो चल चल बुलेया चल उठे चलिए हो चल चल बुलेया चल उठे चलिए हो चल चल बुलेया चल उठे चलिए चल बुलेया चल उठे चलिए जिथे सारे अन्ने चल बुलिया चलो थे चलिए जिथे सारे अन्ने ना कोई साडी जात पछाणे ना कोई साडी जात पछाणे ना कोई सानू मन्ने चलो थे चलिए हो चल चल बुलिया चलो थे चलिए हो चल चल बुलिया चलो थे चलिए हो चल चल बुलिया चल उठे चलिए हो चल चल बुलिया चल उठे चलिए. तू कभी ते तुम्हें आ जावे मैं कवा ते छुरिया तू कभी ते तुम्हें आ जावे मैं कवा ते छुरिया सुन ले भगत कबीर दी बुलिया सुन ले भगत कबीर दी बुलिया दो वे गल्ला बुरिया चलो ते चलिए हो चल चल बुलिया 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 चलो ते चलिए बुलिया आशिक हो या रब दा होए मलामतला बुलिया आशिक हो या रब दा होए मलामतला तैनू का पर कहंदे तैनू का पर कहंदे तू आहो आहो चलो ते चलिए हो चल चल बुलिया 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 चलो ते चलिए धाते मस्जिद मंदिर धाते जो कुछ दिसदा धाते मस्जिद मंदिर धाते जो कुछ दिसदा पर किसी दा दिल ना दावी पर किसी दा दिल ना दावी रब दिल विच बसदा चलो ते चलिए हो चल चल बुलिया 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 चलो ते चलिए चल बुलिया चलो ते चलिए जिथे सारे अन्ने चल बुलिया चलो ते चलिए जिथे सारे अन्ने ना कोई साडी जात पहचाने ना कोई साडी जात पहचाने ना कोई सानू मने चलो ते चलिए हो चल चल बुलिया 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 चलो ते चलिए Ladies and gentlemen, with me on stage is the very, very wonderful Ehsan Ali. So, Ehsan plays the sarangi. Sarangi का मतलब है सौरंगी. कहते हैं इस beautiful इस साज में this instrument is filled with so much emotion that it can depict, evoke over 100 different emotions and colors. Hence, it is called the Saurangi, the Sarangi. I'm quickly going to sing our last song because we do have a flight to catch, which we might not catch, in which case we'll just come back and sing for you after the Q&A. This one is also based on the poetry of Baba Bulle Shah. Ricky, thoda sa mera volume kam kar de monitors pe aur halki reverb badha de, please. So this is also based on the poetry of Baba Bulle Shah. I'm clearly a fan. बट इसमें बाबा बुल्ले शाह एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत बात कहते हैं कि मेरे गुरु ने मुझे एक ऐसा नुक्ता पढ़ाया है. My teacher has taught me a wonderful lesson. कि मेरा काबा, मेरा किबला, मेरा मस्जिद, मेरा मंदिर किसी चार दीवारी में नहीं है. My temple, my shrine, my church, my mosque is not within the four walls of a building. My temple, my shrine, my church, my mosque is not within the four walls of a building, but within the walls of my heart and within the walls of the heart of the person who is sitting right next to me, whose shoulder is touching mine. And he says, now that I have this knowledge, I'm free from the shackles of ritual and religion. Now that I know that God is in everything that I see and everyone that I come across, everyone that I meet, every living being, I must learn to treat each member, each person on this earth, each tree, each living organism on this earth as God. Now that I know this, I am surrounded by God, and I will wear my ankle bells, my ghungroos, and I will dance. I will dance because God is within me and without me. And so in this one, I'm going to do, since you're the Impact Person of the Year, the challenge is going to come to you. So we do ask our audience to sing this. It's a piece we composed. It's got a refrain in Persian and it's in Punjabi. It's really simple, and I'm putting the challenge out, Anurag, with your permission, to Mr. Mehta. I'll say it really slowly, the first 4 lines in Persian, and let's see if you get it right. Then you might win another award tonight. So it goes like this, and as I said, please cheer him on, everyone, come on. He's going to try and speak Persian. So it goes like this, very slowly. It's Alfat in bin unbin anbin nuktayar padhaya re. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, well done. Alfat, आप सब बोलिएगा साथ में. Alfat, in bin, un bin, an bin, nuktayar padhaya re. So Alfat in bin, un bin, an bin, nuktayar padhaya re. And we're going to ask you to sing this with us. Just join in, please. You will hear Ehsan play the sarangi as an Irish fiddle. There are many other musicians who couldn't travel with us, but you will hear every one of them. And really, we wanted to bring in many different sounds to show you that music is not the only thing that can transcend borders. I know everyone says music can transcend borders, but really, it's our mind and our hearts that can truly transcend borders. Alfat in bin un bin an bin nuktayar padhaya re. Alfatin bin un bin an bin nuktayar padhaya. 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 Nuktayar padhaya sanu ranju sabd sikhaya. Nuktayar padhaya sanu ranju sabd sikhaya. Alfatin bin un bin an bin nuktayar padhaya. Alfatin bin un bin an bin nuktayar padhaya. Nuktayar padhaya sanu ranju sabd sikhaya. Nuktayar padhaya sanu ranju sabd sikhaya. Alfatin bin un bin an bin nuktayar padhaya. Alfatin bin un bin an bin nuktayar padhaya.
अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया दुखता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया दुखता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया आके बुले शहर बन तारे आके बुले शहर बन तारे बिस्ती नाम धराया आके बुले शहर बन तारे बिस्ती नाम धराया बंद कर ठहरा छम 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 बंद कर ठहरा छम 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 सानू रुठड़ा यार मनाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया सानी सा सा सानी सा सा पानी सा रे रे सारे गा गा सानी सा 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 सानी सा सा पानी सा रे रे सारे गा गा रे गा 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 रे गा 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 सारे गा मा मा गा पा मा रे 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 गा 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 रे गा 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 सारे गा मा मा गा पा मा रे रे सानी सा 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 सानी सा सा पानी सा रे रे सारे गा गा सानी सा सा सानी सा सा पानी सा रे रे सारे गा गा गरे गा मा पा मा गा रे नी रे सा नी सा नी सा गरे गा मा पा मा गा रे नी रे सा नी सा नी सा गा मा दा पा गा मा रे सा नी रे सा नी सा नी सा गा मा दा पा गा मा रे सा नी रे सा नी सा नी सा नी दा नी दा पा दा पा मा पा मा गा रे सा नी सा सा नी दा नी दा पा दा पा मा पा मा गा रे सा नी दा नी दा पा दा पा मा पा मा गा रे सा नी रे सा अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया अल्फतेन बिनोन बिनन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया 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 धर्मनस्तु अल्लाह 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 धर्मनस्तु Allah dharmanastuhu, 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 Allah. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Anurag. Thank you, Naval. And many, many congratulations again, Mr. Mehta. Thank you to each one of you. Thank you for having us come all the way from Delhi. And we'll see you back again, hopefully next year or sometime soon.
Thank you so much, Sonam. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Sonam Kalra and of course Ehsaan Ali. Can we have a resounding round of applause, just like Sonam's lovely voice? And I think everyone in the room will agree with me when I say that this was not a performance, it was a prayer. Thank you so much, through your music, for connecting us to our inner and our best selves. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Okay, and it is at this point that we're going to set the stage for the grand finale, a conversation between Dr. Batra and Mr. Mehta. Becoming, performing, engaging, influencing, inspiring, and I think then just being could be called the many stages of the Impact Person of the Year 2021. And hopefully through this conversation, we're going to bring out different aspects of this journey of Mr. Mehta. I have no idea what Dr. Batra has in mind for this conversation, but I think this is what it's, we're going to end up understanding various facets of Mr. Mehta, possibly beyond what we already know. Thank you, Sonam. Have a good journey. All right, gentlemen, the stage is all yours. And
give a big round of applause to Zinia. And I know we are between you and your drinks and dinner, so we'll keep it short. That's what Elizabeth Taylor said to many of her suitors. We won't keep you long. Can we have one more mic? And another round of applause for Mr. Mehta. One of the reasons there are many talented performers in Bombay. Yes, Sonam, you'll be now on all the outdoor hoardings in Bombay, and you can stand for election now that you met Yogesh Bhai. The next Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Ms. Sonam Kalra. Because if I met Yogesh Bhai earlier, I could have accomplished much more in life. But when I grow up, I want to be still like you, sir.
Hello.
So please give Mr. Mehta a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Sonam was so mesmerizing. Let's give her a big round of applause. Absolutely brilliant.
And one of the reasons I insisted on Sonam was because I knew Mr. Mehta would like. He was a big fan of मेरी कभी इनसे गुफ्तगू होती है तो ये हमेशा उर्दू में मुझसे बात करते हैं. मेरी थोड़ी वीक है लेकिन I can carry on for a while. So जनाब आपको मुबारक हो.
Thank you so much.
और शुक्रिया.
बहुत शुक्रिया.
शुक्रिया यहाँ रहने के लिए. Let me start by asking. Naval gave a context to your appointment, and India has always been a very big market for levers. Always, And most people think of Hindustan Lever as an Indian company. It is an Indian company as an Anglo-Dutch parent. When we were giving the Impact Person of the Year, your competition was with large internet startups who were making an impact. And one of the things I say in my note is the fact the e-commerce business that Lever has built in the last 2 years. Of course, COVID has accelerated the marketplace that you have built. Give us a sense of when you think of your large company and you think of nimbleness, how do you bring nimbleness in the way you work at Levers?
I think that's a very good question. And the reason why a company like HUL has remained a market leader over 9 decades is because it reimagines and reinvents itself. And we started a journey, Anuragji, about 6 years back of reimagining HUL once again with an intent to make it the most intelligent consumer goods enterprise and moving away from the linear business model that we had so far to building ecosystems of consumers, customers, operations with data and technology center stage. And the way we have unleashed it is we have a digital council in the company, which is not based on a hierarchy. which is based on people with ideas, people who have passion for technology, people who have passion for looking at the consumer needs with a new lens. And we started with a few experiments, which has then got into the kind of ecosystem that we are building, which are not only being used in India today, but in many parts of the developed Unilever. And I believe that you're right, that many of our modern age competitors are the digital first brands, but we are the digital incumbents. So we may be a large company, but we have a soul of a small company.
Beautiful.
And that is how we reimagine and reinvent ourselves. And, you know, while a lot of column square inch is given to companies who have built 500 crore, 1,000 crore. And let me tell you, our demand capture now, with the scale and size we have, is now close to 20% of our turnover, which at the kind of 50,000 crore turnover, you can imagine how much of digital capture of demand we do.
So one of the reasons why Mr. Sanjeev Mehta is an impact person of the year is that Levers, which is not seen to be a digital first company, I'm saying not seen, perception, I'm not talking reality, is doing almost 10,000 crores in digital sales.
Yeah.
I've said that in my note. And, you know, I also, you know, one of the things I say, you know, when I was writing the note, I mean, Neeta wrote the note for me and sent it to me, and I said, no, I'll write a note myself. I talk of the humility that Mr. Mehta, every time I interact with him, he humbles me with his humility. He inspires me with his humility. And I have to tell you this, I used to work in non-media 24 years back, and Sunandan Chaudhary hired me in J. Walter Thompson. And since then, Sunandan has been a friend of mine. He's been an ex-boss. He came to meet me 10 days back. And he came to meet me with an IP which he has in mind, and I'll end up giving the name. Okay. He said, I want to do a complete Man of the Year awards, and I want you to partner with me. And I'm going to take you to meet Mr. Singhania. And then I said, okay, give me 6 names who think, first give me the criteria of a complete man. So we sat down, both of us alone without our phones, because Sunandan insisted I keep my phone away. So being an ex-boss, I can't say no to him. And we said, first, values, family commitment, contribution to the nation, health as an individual, performance in the company, and still going strong. And he wrote 6 names. I can tell you Mr. Mehta was one of those names. And it was a very eclectic list. I promise you, this is a real story. Raji, you know Sunandan, most of you know Sunandan, you can ask him. So you achieved so much in life. 2 weeks back, you were also invited by the Tata Sons chairman to be on the Air India board. And you look at the Air India board, again, it is like really an eclectic board. What next for Sanjeev Mehta? What do you, when you get up, and I want a real answer. I know you're not done with levers, and Indians are doing well in Hindustan levers. Some of the people who worked with you, you commented 2 weeks back that you met Leena Nair, and she was dressed in Chanel from tip to toe. And look at some other levers exports to other companies, they've done so well. So I know you still have a long way to levers, and who knows, the next CEO may be an Indian. Mr. Paranjpe is anyway, part of the very senior leadership team. But what do you think when you get up in terms of work, in terms of contribution?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, when I get up in the morning, I'm so excited to work as if it's my first day as the CEO of the company. And it's now been 20 years since I've been a CEO or executive chairman. I've had the honor to lead Unilever businesses in nearly 30 countries in the world. And the excitement comes from, it is not just about the growth or the profit that we make. No one will remember you for that. What will people remember you as the difference that you have made to people. And I have a very simple purpose in life. I believe in the infinite human capacity. And my purpose is to make heroes out of ordinary people. Yeah, that's what my purpose is.
Thank you.
And, I love seeing my team grow. I love seeing people excel. I love seeing people play to their potential. And I love see people make a difference to our country. Yeah, we have grown in an era where we never thought that India would be looked upon as one of the fastest growing economies. During our days of growing up, it used to be the Hindu rate of growth. Yeah, we used to grow at 3.5%, and the population growth used to eat away about 1.5 to 2%. And here we are growing at a compounded rate of 6.5% over 3 decades, a $3 trillion economy, but we still have miles to go. And I believe this is the generation, our generation, who have the responsibility to convert India from a developing country to a middle income country and then a developed country. There are so many things going for India. And I think all of us, our focus should be on what is the difference we can make to our country. And if we can do that, I see no reason why we would not again regain the greatness that we had seen in the past for our country.
Thank you so much. Now, when you got down for a while and PK came, and PK, for those of you who, maybe there are some people still who don't know who PK is in our industry, for those 1% people, PK is Prashant Kumar, who is the MD of Group M in South Asia. And he congratulated you, and I overheard you. And you said, PK, you played a big role. Congratulations to you. You contributed. Now, just saying that to PK, I have overheard that.
No,
I mean, you know, clients are gods, especially the chairman of Unilever, the MD and CEO of Unilever. So when he talks about people, I mean, he makes me feel special every time I interact with him. And by calling Sonam, because I know he loves Urdu and Bulleh Shah, and that's why I insisted on Sonal Nawal, that we call Sonam Kalra. Sir, I want to ask you a real question. You know, do you think of becoming the global CEO of Unilever? Does that thought cross your mind?
You know, I'll tell you something. If you keep focusing on what you'll be in the future, you will not live in the present.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think we should be obsessed with. Yeah, let me be very clear. If when I was growing up, or when I'd become a chartered accountant and I'd started working in corporate career, if you were to ask me, did I think I would be leading Unilever business in India and many countries? The answer is no. No. You know, was I ambitious? Absolutely. What I wanted to make a difference? Yes. But I always believe that we should live in the present, make a difference, and you should get certain things as a matter of right because of your contributions, rather than being obsessed about what the future holds in store for you.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful philosophy to live by. Be mindful of. My last question, and really want to bring Mr. Lodha into the conversation, Dr. Batra, Mr. Mehta, PK, Raj, Avinash into the conversation. Really, I don't want to stay between you and them. But I remember 5 years back in 2017, at the Impact Person of the Year at a normal venue of ITC Maratha Lawns, you were a nominee, and unlike a lot of other nominees who don't show up, they ask us if they won. And if they haven't won, not everyone comes, some come. You still came. And at the end, Baba Ramdev was our Impact Person of the Year. And he went onto the stage for 2 hours. And I remember if my friend Sandeep Kalia is there, he's there today, he was there that day. And I asked you at the end of the event, anything you'd like to say or something I asked you. And you said, Anurag, I just have to say, you should dig deeper. I don't know if you've forgotten that comment, but I remember it. You said, and of course, you know, Baba Ramdev and Patanjali are doing well. But the reason I'm asking that question is, while you are exuberant about the future, hopeful, we're trying to build what we can, what should we watch out as we move forward?
Yeah. You know, the Greeks knew it so well. Never fall prey to hubris. Yeah, I think it's very important. I term a word called ambition. I believe that if you have an ambition, it is much more powerful than the skills and the resources you have. But if you have humility with feet on the ground and you couple it with ambition, then you have a very potent combination called ambition. And that's what will make a difference. So as a country, we have seen a lot of success, but we have miles to go. I think we should never be complacent. We should, I'd also tell people, never forget the house number from where you came. And that's your origin, that's your roots. And when you do that and have the ambition, then I see no reason why we cannot conquer the world.
Thank you so much. Please give him a big round of applause. I'll come to the audience. If you have comments, questions, I'll go to Mr. Lodha first. Mr. Lodha, आप इतने बड़े कवि हैं, बड़े बड़े 25,000, 50,000 के सभाओं में जाते हैं. You're an actor. My children would watch up when they were growing up, and when I was growing up, I would sit with them and also watch you. So you go to many events. You have an experience. You were recently at the Bombay Stock Exchange helping one of the companies I named. You watched this evening. You heard Mr. Mehta. You heard people say things about him. What is your impression?
First of all, thanks for calling me here. I started in English because he started talking to me in Hindi because he knew or thought that I cannot speak English anyways. But my English is like my wife. I love it, but I don't have control over it anyways. Yogesh is the outdoor king. So anyways, Mr. Mehta and Mr. Anurag and Naval, everybody, it's not a formality, but really thank you, because the best part of evening is listening to you, Mr. Mehta. It's superb. I mean, I tell you very honestly, I myself an orator, go all across the world and to do a lot of things, but the clarity of thoughts, what you have, the way you portray it, the way you present it, and so impromptu, sometimes that you give this impression that this man might be ready and prepared for the answers, but I know that you are not, because you give such great answers, and it comes only when you have that clarity of the mind and thoughts, and such great things as you believe in people. And अगर आप भविष्य की तरफ देखेंगे तो वर्तमान में काम नहीं कर पाएंगे. बड़ी खूबसूरत लाइन आपने ये कही जो आज की शाम में लेके जा रहा हूँ, और ये इम्पैक्ट पर्सन ऑफ द ईयर ही नहीं है, आपका इम्पैक्ट हम लोगों पे है. तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया इस खूबसूरत शाम के लिए, अनुराग, ये जुटाने के लिए और हमें आप बुलाने के लिए. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you so much.
In हिंदी. वैसे एक्सचेंज फॉर मीडिया के अलावा हमारी हिंदी में भी एक मीडिया साइट है, उसका नाम है saphacharformedia.com. उसके संपादक कई बार अविनाश को परेशान करते ही रहते हैं, लेकिन हमारे अंग्रेजी वाले कम परेशान करते हैं. Thank you, Shailesh ji. I know you're ambidextrous and you are very good. Mr. Mehta, who's a performance coach, growth coach, he's just written a book. He'd like to ask you a question. He has very good thoughts that come to me every morning on my WhatsApp. Sometimes I use them.
Sanjeev, I am loving this word, a leader with a purpose. And there are some great people in this room. Could you share at what age you found your purpose? And how big was it when you found it? And where are you today?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question.
Thank you, Harish. Thank you.
And I was greatly influenced by my parents. And like I said, there were many values. I believe that as parents, you can give two things to your children. One is the best possible education. The other is a good set of values. Rest all is transitory. It's not about inheritance. And my parents gave me values of, hard work, perseverance, integrity, and love for the nation. And a belief that we are very fortunate people. And there are millions in our country who are less unfortunate just by the dint of accident. They were not born in the families where they got great opportunities. So making a difference to the context, that's something which has been imbibed in me much earlier. But the purpose that unfolded, I think, started with when I got my first role as a chairman of the company, which was 20 years back. And this was a business which was floundering. And I was given the task of turning it around. And I knew the risk. The risk was my career could go down the Bay of Bengal if it didn't turn around the Unilever business in Bangladesh. And I also knew that as individual, even as a chairman, you can't do much. Yeah, you have to do it through your team, through your people. And very few of us are Einsteins. Most of us are normal human beings. But our capacity is immense and we don't really harness it. You know, very simple thing, if you were to really ask, how much do you think during a day to solve a problem or an issue? You'd be amazed how minuscule a percentage it is. And then I thought, let me make heroes out of ordinary beings. And we turned around the company majestically, and it became a crown jewel of Unilever. Then I went to Philippines, and as a chairman of Philippines, you know, in FMCG, we are a very competitive industry. We fight for 10 bips of market share. 10 bips is 0.1%, and we have street battles for it. And here we were, is with an arch rival in the biggest category, where they had 44 share and we had 32 share. And we launched a new brand and we galvanized the whole company. And we did something which was blitzkrieg, which was on January 3rd, 2007, a brand was nowhere when people slept. When they got up in the morning, it was everywhere. Some 4,000, 5,000 people worked at night to put the brand on the shelves. And we brought in the best possible creativity. And we did the unthinkable, where within 4 months, we became the market leaders. And a brand dethroned the market leader in that segment within a period of 6 months. Now, that was the kind of victory which again brought to the fore that human beings can do extraordinary things. When I was leading North Africa, Middle East, we had the Arab Spring. And those of you who are a bit conversant with history will remember it started with a Tunis fruit vendor in Tunisia and engulfed the whole region. And despite all the crisis, we did amazing when rest of the global companies were attributing their dip in the results because of crisis in the Middle East. Our business was growing double-digit. Again, it was getting people, ordinary people, to do extraordinary things. So I think in 2008, I articulated my purpose. And I've been living by that purpose ever since.
Thank you. You know, Mr. Mark, yes. Ambition. We, wow, beautiful.
I love this word. A lot of people have heard I. And these make the difference in the lives of people at HUL, I'm sure. And may you continue to grow. And as he mentioned, looking forward to see you as a global leader. All the best.
Thank you. Mr. Markan Adhikari has been there. He's like an older brother, though he's young in every other way, which all my friends who know him will attest to. And he's a pioneer. And I know his stories with levers, but I asked him, give me in one line or one sentence or one word, what do you have to say about the evening? And he wants to say something.
Mr. Mehta, I would just like to tell you that you are not the leader of such a big company, but you are a great motivator. And our evening is mad. That's all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Markan Bhai, for saying he's not just a leader of a big company, but also a great motivator. Dr. Mukesh Batra, he's just won a Padma Award. A book has come out and he's written. Last Sunday, there was a play on his life on the World Homeopathy Day. And there are many more things, you know, about him, which I'm just discovering. Most people sometimes who don't know me come to me, are you Dr. Batra? So I said, I am the Nakli Wala, permanent head damage, Dr. Batra, PhD. But Asli Wala. And I am the one, people lose hair. He's the one who fixes it, makes all the money. So I have to recover all that money from him, but another day, Dr. Batra.
Thank you very much. And you know, thank you for being my namesake. It really helps.
Thank you.
Thank you for a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Dr.
In one word, I would say totally inspirational.
Thank you so much.
I know the governor has left, but I'd just like to just cite 2 lines in Hindi. कदम चूम लेती है मंजिल आकर, कदम चूम लेती है मंजिल आकर, अगर राही खुद अपनी हिम्मत ना हारे. It's really a story of perseverance. You know, they say perseverance is the key to success. And it's been a truly inspirational and truly motivational evening. And your life is purposeful and it inspires everybody else to follow in your footsteps and to lead a wonderful life. My question to you really is that, you know, you had a disruptor suddenly coming up as a competitor in the FMCG segment and actually grew very fast. How did you deal with it? I know you dealt with it very well.
No, I'm glad, Dr. Batra, you raised this question. And I have some very simple philosophy behind it. First is, as a country, our market is not a zero-sum game. If someone grows by 500 crores, that doesn't mean it will be at our cost because we are a growing market. The second thing I believe is competitors are good for the consumer. And the third bit I believe is a good competitor brings out the best in Hindustan Unilever.
Thank you. Let me bring in, we had Ms. Ambika Soni as an Impact Person of the Year. Last year we did the Impact Person of the Year in Delhi, and I ended up, Mrs. Smriti Irani was the chief guest, and I ended up saying that, you know, we have 2 women now, and she like got on stage and she had lots of fun with me, which is okay. But we have a lady who, Ms. Megha Tata, who's the MD and CEO of Discovery in India, in Southeast Asia, who wants to ask you a question.
Thank you, Anurag. And first of all, congratulations, Sanjeev. Totally inspirational, like everyone said. And listening to you today clearly makes me believe that, you know, why Hindustan Lever today is a crown jewel if somebody like you who leads this organization. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And I've also followed you a bit in your career, and I've seen that you've been one of the, you know, prominent spokesperson on diversity and building a culture of diversity and inclusion in the organization. And some of the initiatives you've taken have been fantastic. So the question to you is that when will we see HUL led by a woman?
Yeah, I think it's a right, absolutely right question. Let me give you where we are today. Yeah, is when I took over this role about 8.5, 9 years back, we had 18% of our management as women. Today, we have 44% of our management as women. In another 2 years, we'll be gender balanced. Yeah, but we are going beyond that. And we said it should not just be management, right? It should be across the workforce. So today we have factory in Haridwar where from a shop floor level to the factory manager, everyone is a woman. We have 5, and our factories are big factories located not in urban India, but many of them are in semi-urban rural India. We have 5 of our factory managers who are women. And we have just elevated one of my management committee members as Global Chief Marketing Officer, Priya Nair, of one of the business groups in the world, yeah, of Unilever. So, you know, one doesn't want to, because I believe that we should not bring in a woman just because she happens to be a woman. Yeah, it should be based on meritocracy. And I believe that the day will not be far off when there will be many women clamoring and being in the race to become the CEO of Hindustan Unilever.
Just to that, sir.
Thank you, Megha. And you know, I've written in my note, if you know me, if I meet you, the first question I ask you, when is your birthday? If I don't know that. So I did ask him the first time I met him, and I figured out that he shares his birthday with Saurav Ganguly, Ms. Noor Fatima Warsia, Mr. Prashant Pandey, Ms. Jasmine Sorabji. That's 8 July, and I can go on. There are 10 more from the industry. But Noor and Mr. Mehta do have a good relationship, and she was coming. She had bleeding, so she went back from And Noor always tells me about your two daughters. She tells me about how passionately you genuinely are about diversity. So, Mr. Tata, that's not something that he's saying on stage. He does conversations with Noor.
I am surrounded by 3 wonderful women in my life. My wife, Mona, who's been a force behind me, and 2 wonderful daughters, Naina and Roshni. They're twins, but they're apple of eye.
Thank you so much. Now let me go to Mr. Nayak. We haven't been able to, I don't think in this life we'll be able to pay for his kindness. Last Saturday I came to Bombay with my daughter, and he was the first person after I went to Narsi Monji. He was the first person we met, and my daughter, had such kind things to say before. I mean, she had met him virtually and mail, call. But after she spent an hour with him, I mean, she was just all praise for him and couldn't stop talking about him to my wife, who actually my father-in-law and my wife always tell him, "Kuch karna hai to Raj Nayak jaise bano." So
That's
मैं कोशिश
true.
कर रहा हूँ.
He is
कोशिश
such
कर-
a successful person.
No, not only successful. Some of
But
the
a
things-
wonderful human being.
Yes, some of the things you talked about, he actually, Mr. Nayak, happiness. Would you like to talk about happiness? I know you're happy that Mr. Mehta is here. I am happy that you are here and everyone is here. But why don't you say something about Mr. Mehta today?
I've known Sanjeev for quite some time now. I watched him very closely, and even before the governor spoke, I was telling Munish, I said, if there's one quality I admire about Sanjeev is his humility. It's
Absolutely.
and success can always be retrofitted. I always say this. Sachin Tendulkar mother can take a picture of Sachin Tendulkar when he's 5-year-old and say, "Mujhe pata tha mera beta क्रिकेटर बनने वाला है." हकीकत ये है किसी को पता नहीं है कि कल क्या होने वाला है. And
कुछ लोगों को पता होता है, कुछ लोगों को ये भी पता होता है उनकी कल रेटिंग क्या आने वाली है. आप कह रहे हो ये नहीं पता होता. क्या बात कर रहे हो?
and you articulated it so well that when you said that when you started your corporate career, you had no clue that one day you'll be so successful in your life. My question to you is very simple. How do you define success?
Yeah, it's a very profound question. How do you define success? And I would say that as human beings, you have 2 kinds of motivators. One is your extrinsic motivator, which is you want to be successful in your business or in your whatever job you're doing or the enterprise you're running. You want to work for a bigger company, lead a bigger brand, have higher TRPs if you're running a channel, and have a higher market cap, growth, etc. Those are extrinsic motivators. Then, Raj, there are your intrinsic motivators. And intrinsic motivators are about, keeping your spouse happy, seeing your children grow into worthy citizens of the world, seeing your team grow, your own spiritual journey. And when there is a balance between your intrinsic motivators and your extrinsic motivators, then I believe that's success for me.
Thank you so much. Again, as I said, when I called Neeta and she had written a piece, I said, I want to, and she rightly titled it Humility with Excellence. Now that's what everyone in the team believed. That's what Mr. Nayak, who's known you for so long. Mr. Puri also wants to make a comment or ask a question. I'll come to you in a moment, but Mr. Pandey now, Mr. Pandey, I'm not going to ask you about the R word, but today it's about the impact person of the year.
So when pandemic happened, 3 categories were said that they are the COVID warriors, obviously the doctors, healthcare workers, police, armed forces, and journalists. But the lockdown would not have been successful if the supply chain of the dairy needs foods was not there. If you tell us as to what you did, because telling anyone to come to work was asking them to commit suicide.
Yeah.
So how did you manage?
What a nice question. Thank you, Avinash. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, let me let me articulate this by giving you an example. When we went in for a hard lockdown, in fact, even before the nation declared a hard lockdown, a week before in Hindustan Unilever, we had started our own work from home, leaving aside our factory people and our sales people. And as a management team, we decided that we have to focus on a handful of things. Yeah, one was very importantly, look after our people. Second important bit was keep the supply line running. The third was keeping our fingers on the pulse of the changing behavior of human beings. The fourth was a focus on cash and cost, despite the fact that we are a zero debt company. And the fifth was, how do we help the community? So we said we are going to focus only on these 5 things, nothing else. But I'll tell you the story. Story is, I was doing virtual factory visits. And over the last 2 years, I would have visited all my factories in South Asia. And this was during the height of the pandemic, the first when we were all under lockdown. And I remember speaking to a blue-collared worker in one of our factories. And I asked him, कि आपकी फैमिली को डर नहीं लगता है जब आप घर से निकलते हो काम करने में? तो he said, हमारी फैमिली को डर लगता है सर, जब हम घर छोड़ के काम करने आते हैं. तो मैंने पूछा, आप फिर क्यों आते हो? He was standing in front of a soap manufacturing line. He picked up a Lifebuoy soap from the line, showed it to me and says, sir, इससे हम देश को बचा पाएंगे. Now, this guy was not a manager in a company. Yeah, he was a humble, blue-collared factory worker. But he came to work for a bigger purpose. कि ये soap से हम देश को बचा पाएंगे. And I think that is what drove our people. And that is how we navigated the turbulence.
Thank you so much. Munish, you wanted to ask a question, short question.
Very short, very short.
You're a tall man, that's why.
Yeah. Thank you, Anurag. Sanjeev, it's such a pleasure to hear you today. What I think would be great is to just hear from you when you started your career at Union Carbide and the Bhopal gas tragedy happened. What impact did that have? And and then of course you've done safety standards for many, many companies, but you began there, and I just wonder what that journey was.
Yeah, it's thank you. When I finished my chartered accountancy, I was fortunate to be amongst the toppers. So we had a lot of companies approaching you to join them. And I had zeroed in on 2 companies. One was the Unilever group of companies, and the other was Union Carbide. They were of equal size, but Unilever was not one entity. We had different entities. We had Brook Bond, we had Lipton India, we had Ponds India, we had Hindustan Lever, we had Dumduma. And Unilever offered me a job with Lipton, which was based in Kolkata. And here was I, a Mumbai boy, and Union Carbide was headquartered in Mumbai. So not surprisingly, I joined Union Carbide. And 1 year into my job, the infamous Bhopal gas tragedy happened. And within a few months, I was sent to Bhopal as a member of the crisis team. And here was a 24-year-old sent to Bhopal as the junior most member of the crisis team, of course. And but it was a small team, 7, 8 people who were managing, which was perhaps the biggest industrial disaster in the world. And I believe a boy became a man at that stage. While the tragedy was of immense proportions, my experience was one that you would never hope to get ever. It was an experience of a lifetime, helping with the investigation, helping with the legal case, separating the people. I remember working on Operation Faith, which was neutralizing the balance MIC. And those were the days when I really understood the role of cooperation in a society, what safety means. Even now, we have no event where I don't start with safety because it is so important for me. And very importantly, the role of a corporation in a society, that got deeply embedded in me. And I can talk a lot about what happened in Bhopal, why it happened, but I think that's for another day. I can speak for hours because it is still so fresh and embedded in my mind. But I think what the lessons I take from there is safety, the role of a corporation in society, and very importantly, in case a crisis happens, how would you navigate a crisis? So what it has done to me, Girish, that whenever there is a crisis, I never get overwhelmed, never. So whether it was demonetization, whether it was Arab Spring, whether it was the first Gulf War, where I was in a Muslim country leading a big Unilever business, and there was a big outcry against foreign multinationals. And we were the lightning rod as the biggest company over there. And it never phases me. So I think that has built my muscles of navigating crisis in a very big way.
Amazing, Sanjeev. Thank you.
So before I ask my question, I want to tell you that, you really confuse the journalist. You consistently speak so well that I don't know which sentence should be the next headline, because, usually I am just worried about my job because I don't know which of these should be the headlines. So many amazing sentences that you've used. I just want to ask you that, you've been leading such a big company. You have hired so many people, apart from the qualifications and the degrees, what are the qualities that you look in the individual when you hire them?
Sure. I think, the question that you would want to ask, say, for instance, when I recruit people to my management or appoint people to my management committee, what do I look at in people? And I would say three things. One is competency. Yeah, the skills that you bring to the party. Second is contribution. Yeah, what has been your track record of performance? But the third thing, which is the most important and precedes the first two, is character. Yeah. So when it comes to character, and again, one could be looking at it from varied lens. But the first most important bit is integrity. When I talk about integrity, I'm not talking about hand in the till integrity. वो हमारी company में कभी होगा नहीं. No one will be able to come up to that level where they are having a hand in the. But very important is intellectual integrity. Yeah, that's extremely important. Second is, are you an individual player or a team player? Yeah. Third is, are you someone who will hog the limelight, or will you work for your team? Yeah. Will you develop your next generation leaders? Will you be selfless? Those are the traits we look at when we talk about character.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mehta. I recently met a CEO who said in sales, I don't hire people who have weight like me. That's why I'm trying to reduce weight and I'm successful. But I'll now bring in Ms. Neeta Nair, who leads editorial for Impact, to ask a question. Neeta, go ahead.
Mr. Mehta, your work, your achievements have always been very, very inspiring. But today when I walk away, I think I have to say I will be more taken in by the person behind the leader. And that's a fact, very, very honest fact. You've given us many, many quotable quotes today, and you also said something because I was doing this booklet on you. You said, ordinary people make extraordinary things happen. I really want to understand from you who has been that one extraordinary influence in your life who's made you who you are today.
Yeah, let me give you a few examples. I've spoken about my dad and my mother. My mother came from a pretty well-to-do business family, but she worked for a person who, like I said, they had lost everything in Lahore and was rebuilding their life. So my mother completely supported my dad in what was to be done. And I'll give you a couple of examples. In our family, we never got pocket money, I and my siblings. And we knew where our parents had taught us, this is where the money in the household is kept. We knew how much our father earned. We knew what was his savings. And we knew when to take money and when not to take money. So at a very young age, the value was something which was ingrained in us. Yeah. But I'll give you another example. A lady who has had a profound impact on my life is my wife, Mona. She is a chartered accountant by training. And she was a corporate banker. And when we got married, she used to earn more than me. When we moved to Dubai, she was working for HSBC, and again, she was earning more than me. And a first big job that came my way in Unilever was as the commercial director of Unilever Bangladesh during a period where I said the business was going through a very tough time. At one stage, Unilever was also thinking about exiting from Bangladesh. And this job came my way, and we were that time in sunny Dubai. And we had little babies, and we were enjoying our life. And when this job came our way, we went on a recce trip. And we saw that the business is in a very tough state. And we also knew, looking at the place is not Dubai. And that would meant that my wife, if I was to take up the job, would have had to give up a job. So on the way back, and I still remember it was Emirates flight flying back from Dhaka to Dubai, I was discussing and I was telling my wife, I don't think I should pick up this job. And my American boss, Tom Stevens, was very clear. He told me, Sanjeev, don't worry about it. We'll find you another big job in Unilever. And my wife said, where will you get a chance to turn around a Unilever business? And this will give you a kind of breakthrough that you will be able to leave many of your peers behind. So if there was that moment in my Unilever career, which was a breakthrough moment, was going on for this opportunity, which was a high risk opportunity. Yeah, but remember something, risk and rewards go together. And I would owe the next 20 years, when I became a CEO and chairman, to my wife, Mona.
Thank you. Nawal, moral of the story is always listen to your wife, okay? And I will listen to mine, okay? I want to bring in Amin and PK into the conversation.
Yeah, before Amin and PK come in, I must tell you that gone are the days when we as big companies can be lone riders. And our success is dependent on our partners. And WPP and Mindshare have been such phenomenal partners to Unilever. And here we have two of the leaders, PK and Amin. And I would like to share this success with you guys today.
Congratulations. PK.
And of course, we have Nidhi over there,
Percentage
who manages the Unilever account.
Amin, here you go.
Thanks, Anurag. What a lovely evening. First of all, many congrats, Sanjeev. You have always been reflecting inspiration on us and always been, putting that impact on us. So for us, we look forward to every moment when we can spend some time with you, right? I don't have any questions to you because we do have multiple times when we ask questions to each other and answers. But I must, I think one of the aspects I was also, trying to tell somebody today was the ambitious aspect. And you also mentioned that, and I also felt that you probably are more ambitious than somebody, how much that person is about himself or herself, right? And that comes from a great leadership, right? And that is very much felt when we as partners work with you, right? Many thanks for that.
Thank you.
And the other aspect is, you also mentioned about compassionate capitalism, right? These are aspects which you've seen you practicing. And it's not just professionally, it is very much personally. And I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate the entire HUL team, as well as best wishes to your family, Mona, Roshni, Naina, right? Lovely evening. Let you rise more and more. Many, many thanks.
Thank you so much, PK.
Hi, Sanjeev. Firstly, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's because of the encouragement and the push that you give us that we keep rising and we keep raising our game. And I just want to narrate one incident, which will just explain to us the kind of push and encouragement that Sanjeev gave. So a few years ago, we won the Grand Prix at the Cannes for Unilever. And, we celebrated. Sanjeev actually called us for a celebration, and we celebrated it. And he really was very, very happy. And then we went on following our business. The next day, in the street of Unilever, I don't know, Sanjeev, if you remember, but I was just standing aside with my team, and Sanjeev was quite busy and he was walking away. And then he suddenly saw me and he just came and he tapped on my shoulder and he said, don't get too complacent. Our best is yet to come. And I'm scratching my head, and he just said that and he went away. And I'm thinking, after Grand Prix, okay, I think we need to really, really work hard. So thank you, Sanjeev, for all that push and encouragement.
No, thank you for you guys.
Yeah. 20 years being a CEO of Unilever. To be very honest, I couldn't find a job when I started my career at Unilever. And that's why, it's such a great thing that when I see you, it's inspiration to me personally. But Sanjeev, it's not easy to stay there at the top and, bringing out your A game every day. What is that has helped you? I'm sure there's too much of unlearning and learning that you've done as a part of your habit to keep you at that top. How do you manage that? We want to know something about it and maybe learn something tonight.
If your work is not a chore, then it is fun. And for me, my work is not a chore. The company I work for, their values and my personal values are intertwined. And that's the reason I believe if you were to give me back my 29 years, I'll do exactly what I did.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's been the fun of working.
Thank you. I'll now go to Mr. Nikhil Gandhi. Last set of questions. Mr. Adhikari is still not given me his plane. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to take commercial flight. But next time, I could ask more questions. Nikhil.
Anurag doesn't want to serve me a drink, so he's keeping me busy with question and answer.
Okay, I'll keep it light. Thank you, Mr. Mehta. You've really been, kind with all the words that you've used. And this evening has been really encouraging and very enriching with all the anecdotes and the experience that you've shared with us. I remember the time that before I joined MX, I was the CEO of a company called TikTok, which is history now in India. But at that time, we had about 2,000 employees and the lockdown had hit. And I said, I scrambled into a room with my management team to understand what do we need to do. And I went online to just get inspiration from people who manage very large organizations. And one of those was you. And I followed exactly the 5 points that you articulated today, and really worked for us. So thank you very much for that. My question is slightly on the lighter side. You did mention that 20% of your top line is now online sales. And being an executive in the digital business, I represent MX Player. Again, it's not a sponsor plug, but I'd like to understand, how do you spend your time on your mobile? Do you spend time on social? Do you watch anything on digital? Do you watch OTT? Are you exposed to that universe? How do you spend your free time?
Yeah, I think all of us spend a huge amount of time on different hardware that you have, but certainly much more on mobile. And one is my emails. Yeah, with all the security that the company has ensured for my emails, and I, look at them. The second is WhatsApp. Third is communicating with our daughters who are in Boston. Fourth is, as far as social media is concerned, I'm not active on Twitter. The only medium where I'm reasonably active is LinkedIn. And so yes, on LinkedIn I am. And then, I catch all the news, whether it is Bloomberg, whether it is BBC, whether it is Indian news, I capture on the news on the mobile. And it comes in very handy today, because not only while you're commuting in the streets of India, but even when I fly reasonably frequently to London, and I generally take Emirates, which is very well connected even on 30,000 feet. So I still keep working and still keep getting my messages. So yeah, it is an integral part of my life, but I still try to ensure that I do not cross a threshold where my mobile controls me rather than me controlling my mobile.
Last two quick questions, one for Sameh and one for Navroz.
Hi, sir. This question is targeted towards what happened during the pandemic, and post the pandemic, startups have started taking a lot more center stage. And I wanted to know if Unilever has started working a lot more with startups and how they intend to do that in the future.
Oh, a lot of them, at my personal level, I mentored a lot of startups. But as a company, we started about, again, 5-6 years back, something which we call as Foundry, where we look at what are the problems we need to solve, look at what are the startups which are in that space, and invite them to partner with us. And for a startup, it gets the benefit of scale, size, and capability of HUL. We get latest technology. And when a startup announces that they're partnered with HUL, there are more people lined up to fund them than what that would be before they announce the partnership. So it works wonderfully well. And I think one of the jobs we have as a large company is not to ensure just that we grow, but the ecosystem in which we exist, that also needs to blossom. So we clearly understand the role we need to do to help the startups.
So one second, just one last small question. As smaller startups, there is, HUL has done a lot in terms of sustainability and recyclability. There is one small last question. Have you worked on laminates and biodegradable laminates, which have still not made their way to India? And
let me tell you where are we on plastics. First is we are very clear by 2025, all the plastic that we use will be recyclable, reusable, or compostable. That's point number one. Point number two is we are ensuring that all the laminates that we use become recyclable. The third is we are looking at how do we reduce the virgin plastics in our packaging? And how do we are in a position to use most consumer use recycled plastic? But the very important bit is we consume more than 100,000 tons of plastic in a year. And in 21 alone, we have collected from the streets of the country more plastic than we use in the packaging of our finished products. Yeah. So in that way, we have already become plastic neutral.
Thank you so much. I want to be now liquid neutral in a while, but Navroz.
Hi, Sanjeev.
Hello. Hi, Navroz.
Actually, as I am the last person here, I'll keep it very light. Many years ago, you just complimented your team, WPP and the other agencies, which have worked closely with you, as with Lintas for many years.
Of course.
And so I was half the time at the Lever office at Blackbird Reclamation.
And half the time in the bar.
And half the time in the bar, correct. But the interesting thing is that, when I walked into the Lever office for my meeting from Lintas, I was wearing a tie. And Arun Adhikari and Bindi Banga and all were brand managers at that time. And they said, "Yeah, tum tie pen ke aaye ho?" I said, "Yeah, Lintas makes you wear a tie." He said, "In Levers, only two guys wear a tie, the chairman and the drivers."
नहीं वो भी अभी बदल गया देखो आज जो हमने टाई पहनी है ना ये गवर्नर साहब के लिए पहनी है और बत्रा साहब के लिए ऐसे
Absolutely, that's my question to you.
हम तो ठहरे साबुन बेचने वाले हम क्या टाई पहनेंगे
बिल्कुल सही बात है. Because when I went to Levers, I used to go to the factory over here in Andheri when we used to come for our, research. Now, of course, that's where your office is. And today I walked in and I saw complete change. And that's what I think is the most beautiful thing of this business, constant change. Belly buttons which are pierced, long hair, t-shirts and jeans.
About 8 years back, I changed the dress code of the company. And my changing the dress code was, we need no dress code.
Correct.
Thank you so much. On this happy note, congratulations again, Mr. Mehta.
Thank you so much.
To all of you for asking those lovely questions. Thank you once again. We'll see you next year. It's a wrap at the Impact Person of the Year. Thank you, Zenia. God bless you.
Thank you.
Markanbhai, the bar is open.
Thank you, Dr. Batra, and thank you, Mr. Mehta. We'd once again like to thank our presenting partner MX Player and our co-powered by partner ABP Network. Ladies and gentlemen, the bar is open. Dinner has been served. Have a great rest of the evening. Thank you.
Amazing.
हीरो बनने नहीं आया, मैं तो उनका हीरो बदलने आया.
धमाका होगा, बड़ा धमाका.
आप तो हीरो है यहाँ के.
A legacy of trust.
মৃতদেহ পোড়ার গন্ধ চতুর্দিকে.
A credibility of unbiased journalism. That's what we, ABP Anando, stand for, bringing news to our viewers before others.
আর এতে তো আনন্দবাজারের কোনো জুড়ি নেই.
We are fearless, never shying to ask the most uncomfortable questions to the apparently unquestionable and dig out the truth. Because that's what Bengal wants, the truth.
আপনাদেরও একটা বর্ডার থাকার দরকার আছে.
আজকে মুখ্যমন্ত্রীর বক্তব্যে বারবার আনন্দবাজার পত্রিকা এবং এবিপি আনন্দের কথা এসেছে, কিভাবে সেটাই আপনাদের দেখাবো। একেবারে সরাসরি আনন্দবাজার পত্রিকার নাম নিলেন মাননীয় মুখ্যমন্ত্রী এবং এই এবিপি আনন্দে যুক্তিতক্ক অনুষ্ঠানের কথা বললেন। আমাদের চ্যানেলের যেটা ক্যাচ লাইন সীমানা ছাড়িয়ে, সেই সীমানার কথা আমাদের মনে করিয়ে দিলেন এবং আইনি ব্যবস্থার হুমকিও দিলেন এবং বিজ্ঞাপনদাতাদের উদ্দেশ্যে বললেন যে নিউজ চ্যানেলে বিজ্ঞাপন দেবেন না, খবর নয় সিরিয়াল দেবেন।
As the true voice of Bengal, we and only we know what Bengal wants. We know what Bengal wants. We know what Bengal needs. We know what matters to Bengal, what touches the life of Bengal, because Bengal is our bastion.
সন্দেহে বড় ঘটনা, এই মুহূর্তে শ্রমিক সাহা প্রাণের ঝুঁকি নিয়ে সেখান থেকে প্রতি ঘন্টায় প্রতিবেদন পাঠাচ্ছে, কিন্তু ইউক্রেন হলে আমরা এবিপি আনন্দ বাংলা খবর বাংলায় দাঁড়িয়ে করি, বাংলা থেকে করি।
Bengal wants the crux of the matter. Every discussion, every debate in Bengal starts over what Bengal gathers from ABP Anand.
সংবাদ মাধ্যমের পক্ষে কর্তব্য, যেখানে পুলিশের বিরুদ্ধে, ক্ষমতাশালী লোকেদের বিরুদ্ধে অভিযোগ। আমি বলছি আনিস খান হলে, ঝালদা হলে, আলিয়া বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের মতো ঘটনা ঘটলে, হাঁসখালি হলে, রামপুরহাট হলে, আমি বলছি শ্রীলঙ্কার ঘটনা তাও আছে, এই মুহূর্তে শিরোনামে আছে, পাকিস্তান এই মুহূর্তে শিরোনামে আছে, ইউক্রেন তো শিরোনামে আছেই, কিন্তু কোনোটাই আমার বাংলার মানুষ, বাংলার খবরের থেকে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ নয় এবং হতে পারে না বাংলার একটা চ্যানেলের কাছে। অনেক বেশি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ সরকারি বিজ্ঞাপনের থেকে। স্বধর্মে নিধনং শ্রেয়, পরধর্ম ভয়াবহ। সাংবাদিকতার কর্তব্য, সেখান থেকে আমরা এক চুল, যত রক্তচক্ষুই যেদিক থেকেই আসুক না কেন, তার থেকে বিচ্যুত হব না।
It is not a claim. It is the truth. Because we hail from Bengal, we know the pulse of the state and its people. ABP Anand, এগিয়ে থাকে, এগিয়ে রাখে।